Welcome to another adventure on Earth with my Martian friend, Zorzen. I'm Ryan Connell. I should have known better than to bring Zorzen anywhere near experimental technology, let alone a functioning time machine. But when I saw the flyer for the Future Tech Expo, I couldn't resist. Zorzen was a sucker for anything. Earth's primitive species has almost figured out. And I figured this would be a harmless day out. Spoiler alert. It wasn't. The expo was packed with tech enthusiasts, buzzing over gadgets, holograms, and of course, the star attraction. A prototype time machine sitting front and center in its own glass enclosure. It looked like a giant chrome egg, sleek and ominous, with swirling lights that screamed, "Do not touch me." Naturally, Zorzen was drawn to it like a moth to a flame.
"This is extraordinary,"
he said, his wide Martian eyes shimmering.
"Your kind has built a device to transcend the temporal fabric?"
"It's just a prototype," I said, trying to steer him toward a booth selling self-cleaning socks. "It probably doesn't even work." Zorzen squinted at me.
"If it didn't work, they wouldn't have made it shiny. This must be functional."
Before I could stop him, he slithered past the authorized personnel only sign, muttering something about temporal diplomacy. By the time I caught up, Zorzen was already inside the machine, poking at the glowing controls with his hands. The scientists were shouting at us from behind the glass, but Zorzen ignored them, concentrating entirely on the device. "Zor, what are you doing?" I hissed, banging on the egg-shaped capsule.
"I'm correcting humanity's mistakes, of course, starting with the extinction of your planet's most majestic creatures."
What does that mean? The time machine's interior began to glow, and suddenly, I was very afraid of the answer. With a deafening whir, the machine powered up. The swirling lights inside expanded, and then nothing. For a second, I thought Zorzen had failed. Then the pod door opened, and a dinosaur stepped out. Not just any dinosaur, a full-grown feathered raptor, complete with claws, a piercing gaze, and a low growl that made my knees buckle.
"Behold! I have restored your Earth's biodiversity."
"You brought back a raptor?" I shouted, backing away as the creature sniffed the air and snapped its jaws shut.
"Yes, this one is named Gregory."
"Gregory?" Zorzen nodded.
"A noble name for a noble beast. Do you like him?"
"I think he's going to eat us." Predictably, Gregory didn't take well to the commotion around him. With a loud screech, he bolted out of the machine and into the expo, sending terrified visitors scattering like bowling pins. "Zor, do something!" I yelled as we ran after him.
"I am doing something!"
Zorzen replied indignantly, fumbling with a small device in his hand.
"I'm trying to translate his thoughts into speech."
Or you could just stop him from wreaking havoc. Gregory, meanwhile, was knocking over booths, devouring samples of lab-grown meat, and snapping at drones filming the chaos. I narrowly dodged a flying 3D printer as we rounded a corner. "Okay," I said, panting. "We need a plan. What calms raptors down?" Zorzen tilted his head thoughtfully.
"On Mars, we use plasma pudding to calm aggressive creatures."
"Does Earth have plasma pudding?"
"No."
"Then why is that relevant?" Before he could answer, Gregory cornered us near the food court. His sharp claws clicked against the floor as he stepped closer, eyes locking on us like we were appetizers.
"Quick,"
Zorzen said, handing me a tray of chicken nuggets he'd grabbed from a fleeing vendor.
"Offer him these. They resemble his ancient prey."
I tossed the nuggets toward Gregory, who sniffed them suspiciously before gobbling them up. It bought us just enough time for Zorzen to activate his device.
"Got it."
The translator emitted a garbled sound before Gregory's voice boomed in perfect English.
"Where am I? Who are you? And what is this rubbery meat?"
After a lot of fast talking and promising Gregory better snacks, we managed to lure him back toward the time machine. Zorzen reprogrammed the controls to return him to his original timeline, though not without an emotional farewell.
"Goodbye, noble Gregory."
Gregory tilted his head.
"You are strange, Purple Man, but I like you."
With that, the time machine hummed again, and Gregory disappeared into the swirling lights as the scientists furiously escorted us out of the expo. I glared at Zorzen. "This is why you don't touch things," he shrugged.
If you think about it, this was a success. We proved the time machine works, restored a species, and made a new friend.
I stopped walking. You didn't grab anything else from the past, did you? Zorzen hesitated, then pulled a small, ancient-looking artifact from his pocket.
Only this. It looked lonely.
I sighed, already imagining the next disaster. I'm getting a headache.
Would plasma pudding help?
I couldn't help but laugh. No, Zor, just let's go home.
And if you want to find a funny Martian friend like me, don't forget to subscribe to Ranksar.